Hi, I'm Susan Moody. I'm a certified natural health practitioner, a retired audiologist, and a speaker on health and wellness. Today, I am so excited. We're going to talk about understanding our respiratory system and more specifically, our lungs. I really want you to get to where you love your lungs. So we're going to first together take a nice deep breath. So with me, join me. Inhale. Exhale. That's one breath of 20,000 that we take each and every day. But let's talk about the very first time you might have taken a breath, when you were born. Well, actually, let's go back a little bit further. When you were in the womb, the placenta did the function of your lungs. Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. And as you got closer to being born, your respiratory muscles started to practice inhaling and exhaling amniotic fluid, preparing your lungs, strengthening the muscles so that when you were born, you could take that first breath. When you were born and the umbilical cord was cut, the carbon dioxide in your bloodstream started to build. And as it built, it triggered the first gasp and filled your lungs with air. Again, one in about 20,000 that we take each and every day. And we don't even have to think about it. Our brainstem kicks in and we breathe in and out effortlessly. We're on autopilot. However, when we want to talk, whistle, sing, do something with our lungs that's more voluntary in nature, our cerebral cortex takes over, performs that function, does what we want it to do, and when we're done with that, our brainstem kicks back in and our respiratory system goes in autopilot. Breath in, breath out, 1 pint of air at a time for each and every breath. 5,000 gallons a day we breathe in and we breathe out. So let's talk about our respiratory structure. We'll start with the sinuses and go all the way down to the diaphragm. When we breathe in, all this air we breathe in, all the irritants come in with it. Pollen, dust, mold, fungus, viruses, bacteria, all kinds of irritants, all kinds of allergens. And the first thing our respiratory system does, our sinuses, prepares that air for our lungs to utilize. How does it do this? It acts like an air cleaner. So the first thing our sinuses do is it captures all those irritants in a mucosal blanket. The little cilia, microcilli in our sinuses gather it up. We expel those irritants, or it goes back to the back of our throat. We swallow them, and our stomach gases annihilate any pathogens. The interesting thing is our sinuses not only act as an air conditioner or as an air filter, but as an air conditioner too. So when it's too hot out, it cools that air down. When it's so cold out, it warms that air up, and it makes it perfectly amiable to our lungs. It also will hydrate the air that we breathe so we don't dehydrate our lungs. Remember, 5,000 gallons of air each and every day, and we basically use a quart of water to hydrate, to get 100% hydration in our lungs so that we don't dehydrate our lungs. What happens if they are dehydrated? They dilate, they get kind of floppy. It's very laborious to breathe in and out, and that function doesn't happen so well. But each and every cell in our body requires oxygen to be healthy. So how do we get more oxygen? Well, going back to the baby, if we breathe like a baby, we will actually get more oxygen in, we'll have better stamina, we'll have mental clarity, and we'll detox better. So let's back up. Most of us are shallow breathers. We breathe with our shoulders, so we only get the top of our lungs. But a baby breathes with the diaphragm. So let me just show you as a quick example. This represents our lungs. This is our diaphragm. So the diaphragm, so if you watch my little balloons, my little 3rd grade demo, the balloons will actually inflate with the diaphragm moving up and down, up and down. So breathing like a baby enables us to get more oxygen into the entire lobe. So how do we breathe like a baby? When you watch a baby, the ribs expand, the diaphragm, the belly expands. It's called belly breathing. Out, in, and we'll feel air in the entire lung lobe. What's interesting is this is a form of breath work. Strengthens our lungs, gets more oxygen in, better mental clarity. Another type of breathing exercise we can do is called box breathing. Now box breathing, so I have as an illustration, box breathing is a count of 4 in, you hold for 4, you exhale for 4, and you hold empty for 4. In fact, the Navy SEALs use this to help them focus, to help increase lung capacity, to keep them calm when they're in some very intensive combat situations. So it's insanely easy. 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4. Let's give it a try. Ready? We're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. Here we go. 4 in. And just repeat. 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4. That's going to increase your lungs capacity and keep those lungs working well. So let's talk a little bit more about the biology. So we talked about the sinuses. Now, next what happens if we follow the biology, if we follow the structure, we have the larynx, the trachea, then the bronchi branches like an upside down Y into bronchioles. And those bronchioles get smaller and smaller until they end in about 100 air sacs. So that is air in the sinuses all the way down into the lungs. There's about 60 million alveoli that transport the air in and carbon dioxide out. They're about, at that very end, they're about size of a hair thick. And so when we breathe in, the oxygen goes into the bloodstream very easily. We exhale, carbon dioxide goes out. If we were to trace our airway and actually measure it, it's going to be 1,500 miles. That length of that airway is like going from Midland, Michigan down to Miami, Florida. Huge. 60 million alveoli sacs to transport oxygen in and out, an airway of about 1,500 miles. And that's not the only amazing things about the lungs. The lungs are one of the few pairs of organs that's asymmetrical. So the right lung has 3 lobes. The left lung only has 2. And the left lung is actually 10% smaller because it makes a space for the heart. And that 10% where the heart fits, there's a little cardial notch. We also have 24 ribs, 12 on each side, to protect our lungs and to protect our heart. The lungs are just so amazing. If we were to, they're the only organ that floats. So if we were to take them and put them in water, they would float. They are so large that if we took them out, unpacked them, spread them out, they'd be as big as a tennis court. Phenomenal. So how do we keep our lungs stronger? They work 24/7 for us, and we need to help them out. So we talked about getting more oxygen in by breathing correctly. Now, if you're a smoker, and I've never smoked, so please forgive me, but I know it's easy to say to quit, but just quit and keep quitting until you actually quit. But I'm going to give you some tips, and I'm going to tell you about some things that will help you do that. So for people who, family members, smokers, just know that nicotine is a natural insecticide. Nicotine actually desensitizes your lungs, desensitizes your brain, and actually creates millions of nicotine receptors in your brain, making it a true addiction, making it so hard. So if your loved one is trying to quit, support them and know that it's really, really tough. But I'm going to give you some tips that maybe will be helpful. So one of the things when you're trying to quit, the first 3 days, you have the most withdrawal symptoms because those nicotine receptors are just fighting you. So some of the things that you could consider doing is cranberry juice. Cranberry juice, those first 3 days will help with accelerating the nicotine detoxicity, cleaning your lungs, cleaning your brain. It'll help because nicotine is an alkaloid, and cranberry juice will really give you a leg up on that. Something else to try, dandelion tea. Dandelion tea will help you detox. It'll strengthen the liver and help you with those cravings. Zinc is a wonderful thing to add. Zinc will help with getting your sense of taste and smell back, but it will also reduce the cravings. What else can you do? Well, mullein actually is a wild herb. You can actually see it in Michigan. It is a silver-leafed plant. At the end of summer, it has a very long, tall stalk with a lot of yellow leaves on it. You can drink mullein as a tea, as a tincture, as a supplement. Mullein is one of my most favorite herbs. It will soothe the lungs. It will strengthen the tissue. It helps remove phlegm and mucus. It's also antiviral. And the interesting thing about mullein being antiviral is it's anti-spiked protein antiviral, which means SARS, herpes, and COVID. So mullein is a great herb to support the lungs. Another thing that would be good to try to add is some essential oils in your effort to quit smoking or in your effort to support your lungs. I brought a peppermint and a eucalyptus. Those are very popular. You'll see them a lot in cough medicines, in chest rubs. The mullein and the peppermint really give you the power to breathe. They're in so many remedies because they open up the respiratory system, open up those passages so you get more air in, helps the mucus clear out. And peppermint's very cooling, very invigorating. So if you're trying to smoke, trying to quit smoking, just keep quitting. Keep quitting till you quit. What else? What else can you do to support your lungs? Well, I did bring some food items with me today. Share with you some of the power of food and how these lung-friendly foods can help. Onions and garlics, very antiviral. They are anti-inflammatory, great to add. Apples. Apples are full of quercetin, the bioflavonoids. The quercetin actually has been known to help lung function. A great addition. The cabbage family, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. They all have anti-inflammatory properties, and they have excellent cleaning of the blood, cleaning of the lungs capacity because of the large amount of chlorophyll found in those plants. Some citruses. I have some oranges, grapefruit. Vitamin C, so important to our immune system, keeping our lungs infection-free. But the great thing is oranges have B6 in them also. B6 helps transfer the oxygen conversion, the oxygen in the carbon dioxide. Grapefruits. Grapefruits have the ability to, those lycopenes have the ability to help clean the lungs, help with lung function. As does carrots, vitamin A, helps strengthen the immune system. I also brought with me pepper, chili peppers, cayenne peppers. The capsaicin in pepper increases the blood flow. It helps reduce mucus and phlegm. I have some ginger. These are dried ginger slices. Ginger, a lot of people know ginger is very good for the stomach. It helps reduce nausea, but it also helps clean pollutants out of the lungs. And so this is a nice display of foods that you can add to strengthen your lungs. And the reason that we need to keep our lungs strong is because we're always getting attacked from the outside. And our respiratory system is one of our first lines of defense. What's surprising to a lot of people, what's shocking to a lot of people, is inside our home we have a higher level of air pollution than we do outside our home. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that you can do, easy things you can do to keep your home cleaner and your family safer. Because when pollutants come in, they kind of get trapped, which is why furnace filters, furnace manufacturers, they typically recommend that you change your furnace filter every 3 months or so. It's going to trap the pollen, other allergens. And a tip from my dad is we always date the furnace filter because it's so easy to forget when you changed it. So if you just mark the date on your furnace filter, you'll always know when to change it next. Thanks, Dad, for that tip. One of the other things, probably the highest importance of watching what happens in your home is humidity. Humidity allows mold and fungus spores to grow. It also helps and allows dust mites to live. So in your bathrooms, make sure that you keep your humidity levels low. Another thing that happens in the home is VOCs. VOC stands for volatile chemical compounds, and they are found in such a large array of household products. Anything with an aerosol, paints, disinfectants, anything that's sprayed. These volatile organic compounds actually are natural and man-made. They have a very high vaporized pressure point, a very low boiling point. And the problem is there's so many, they come from so many places, and they are very damaging to our respiratory system. And we can find them in things like aerosols, in which case if you have an opportunity to use a different type of delivery system for your cleaning products, that's a great thing to do. Acetone is a huge VOC. There's other alternatives to the typical and traditional nail polish. Ethanol is found in window cleaning and laundry detergents. Use more friendly, eco-friendly type products. We have mothballs. Mothballs have a lot of VOCs. Easy enough to use cedar chips or garment bags. So when you can avoid the aerosols, use different products. Radon. Radon is actually a colorless, odorless gas. It comes up naturally through the ground. It invades our home through cracks, through sump pumps, through our well water. It's easy enough to get a radon kit, have it professionally tested. Do know that radon varies greatly from region to region. So if your region is more prone, get a test. The great thing, if there is such a great thing about radon, it has a very short half-life, 3 days. It ventilates very easily. Open up your home, get the air exchange in. Carbon monoxide. We're so familiar with our smoke detectors. Carbon monoxide is also odorless, tasteless, colorless. Keep your smoke detector batteries fresh. Open up your garage doors. Let the house ventilate. Carbon monoxide comes from things that are burning, our gas stoves, our fireplaces. Just keep them up to manufacturer's recommendation and keep your home safe. We can also add plants. Plants will add oxygen to our environment. The #1 oxygen producing plant is actually called pothos, and I have an example here. Pothos is a very popular household plant. It's easy to grow. Draconia, this one is the dragon cane. Not only does it produce oxygen, but it also helps reduce the VOCs. Formaldehyde is a large VOC, a large concerning VOC, and it off-gases from our furniture, from our carpeting, and this particular plant will help remove some of those VOCs. One of the #1 that, in terms of cleaning the air, is the snake plant or the mother-in-law plant. Very toxin-reducing plant. But any plant in your home, spider plants, philodendrons, bamboo, any living plant will help put oxygen in the air and remove oxygen or remove carbon dioxide and those VOCs. So our lungs continue to work 24/7. Let's do what we can to keep them healthy, to keep them working, and by changing your home environment, keeping it cleaner, by adding foods that will support the lungs, by exercising, you can make choices that will keep your lungs healthy, keep your body healthy, and go on loving those lungs. I'm Susan Moody. I'm so glad you came and joined me today. Be well, stay well, and look forward to seeing you next time. Health and hugs. Bye now.